Earlier today on Squawk, Research in Motion CEO Torsten Hines shared his vision for the company's device, including the BlackBerry 10, due out next year. Take a listen.
People, consumerish oriented in enterprises, love a full touch device. And, we had to make a choice, but finally we decided to really bring both versions to market, very, very close to each other.
Now BlackBerry fans are speaking out as well. For the few who are still opting for the device, what's keeping them around? Kevin Michaluk is the founder and editor-in-chief of crackberry.com. He joins us on the Newsline. Kevin, good morning to you.
Good morning, Carlo.
We should point out you're not an unbiased party, right? What is crackberry.com?
I'm a little biased by definition. Crackberry.com is basically your #1 online resource for all things BlackBerry. So whether it's, news, information, help, buying stuff for your phone, finding out what apps to get, we really cover it all. But we're also the home of the biggest community of BlackBerry users worldwide, with literally millions around the world waiting for BlackBerry 10.
And what is, before we talk about the 10, what has it been like watching the world go mad for the 4S, the 5, and over at Apple? I mean, and I don't think I'm exaggerating here when I say writing off RIM for good. How are you guys survived that?
So, it's interesting because the world for BlackBerry in terms of the opportunities and challenges are exactly the same in an iPhone 5 world as they were in an iPhone 4S world. So it was actually kind of exciting. I think a lot of people expect more of the iPhone 5. So I think our odds with BlackBerry 10, what we're looking forward to BlackBerry 10, Apple didn't change that one bit. But it's tough, right? Because we're waiting. We've been waiting for a new platform from RIM for a long time. But now it's in sight. It's really a new beginning in sight coming in Q1 2013 when they get the new phones and new platforms to market.
Let's talk about the quarter for a second. Obviously, the loss was narrower than expected. That's good. Cash on hand was up from the prior quarter. That's good. They shipped more smartphones than some analysts expected. Also good. And the stock's up. So what are your hopes for the 10? And how realistic are you about how big of an operating system this can be in a world where obviously Android and Apple dominate?
Sure. So, looking at the quarter, I think the big thing here is that cash on hand. I heard on the previous segment that you'd expect to see RIM start burning through cash or spending cash on marketing. Make no mistake, that's going to happen, but it's coming in, the next couple of quarters as BlackBerry 10 marketing ramps up, as those phones ramp up. So right now, what we were really excited to see yesterday, and what I think the street was excited to see, is that, the cash is still there. I think a lot of people expected it to be less on hand. So, a few months back, we were wondering if BlackBerry 10 would ever come to market even. And I think now it's happening. Everybody realizes this is going to happen, which is really exciting. That changed our perspective a lot, seeing that now it's in sight and it's going to happen. And we played with the phones, we played with the OS. This is legit. In terms of the competition, it all depends how you slice it up, right? Obviously, Apple's going to continue to do really well. They have a big fan base, a big loyal base. There's a lot of happy Apple customers in the world, so you can't deny that at all. Android's a little bit different, though, because, who owns Android? Who makes money in Android? And right now it's Samsung. You can't really talk about, Android selling phones to carriers. It's companies that sell phones to carriers. It's LG, it's HTC, it's Motorola. It's, smaller companies, and a lot of them are not doing well in the Android platform. They're shipping phones but not making any money. And I think RIM has a real shot by owning their platform, by owning their software, and by having this loyal user base of BlackBerry users who value the experience. They're going to come out of the gates with a strong couple of quarters, and it buys them the time to really fill out this operating system and win back market share.
If you, you may be an app developer for all I know, but let's just say if you were one, and you could only develop for one platform, would it be for BlackBerry?
That's a good question. Here's the thing. You're going to go where people are, and there's two ways to look at it. There's a pent-up demand on BlackBerry 10, and I know a lot of successful developers who've made a lot of money catering to that. So even though right now it's arguably a smaller pie than, say, iOS, you can get a bigger chunk of that pie if you make great apps. And I know a lot of BlackBerry devs who've made a lot of money on BlackBerry, and a lot of those guys are getting ready for BlackBerry 10. In Apple, you have more users. So if you hit the lottery ticket app, yeah, you could be an overnight success and be sailing on your yacht next week. But there's a lot of stories you don't hear about the devs who are spending a lot of money and, not making any money and not getting the download because there's so much competition.
Final question. How much of the success of the 10 depends on the QWERTY keyboard? Can they make money in a touchscreen world?
So I think, okay, so yes, they can make money in a touchscreen world. I think they own the keyboard market. There is a pent-up demand of people. There are people who will always carry a keyboard phone with them until they die. You know, it's just, 20 years from now, that might not be the case. But for the foreseeable future, that is a market that RIM owns, and everybody else just conceded to RIM. You know, there's no iPhone with a keyboard.
That's true.
There's no point. BlackBerry owns it. That's it. So BlackBerry could, honestly, I think BlackBerry could have a sustainable business just off keyboard phones. It might be a smaller business, but they could be a sustainable business if they reworked for that. But they're not doing that. They're making a plan to full touch. Right. And, this isn't just a new phone coming out. This is a platform built for the next 10 years. I mean, Apple now has the oldest phone operating system on the market. And if you think about the BlackBerry 7 phones we have today, RIM developed this platform a decade ago. So now RIM is putting in the work to think about 10 years from now. And I think they've done a lot of things under the hood that are going to allow them to do things with mobile devices that nobody has done to date. And that's why we're really excited. Well, from your mouth to Torsten Heinz's ears, Kevin, we will see what happens. Thanks for joining us. Good to talk to you. Thanks for having me. Kevin Mitchelluk is with crackberry.com.